So let me give you a sense of what this is. The term that I use in the book is economies of volume. Now, most of you have heard the term economies of scale. Now, orally, you may not have heard economies of scale. But basically what it means is that when you build something bigger and bigger and bigger, each thing it does gets cheaper. So if you build a bigger factory, each thing that comes out of the factory is cheaper than if you have a small factory. And economies of scale have defined the entire world of energy. Bigger power plants, like nuclear, are the biggest power plants. Bigger airplanes, bigger factories. So economies of scale have been the defining driver of economic improvement for energy and many other businesses for 100 years. So over all of human history, we've made about 440 nuclear power plants. A little more than that, we've decommissioned many of them, several of them. We made about 2,400 coal plants. So coal would be getting a little cheaper, but people started looking at what's coming out the top of coal plants and decided, like if you were in Beijing 12 years ago, you couldn't barely breathe, so they said we should capture that stuff, and that took the price of coal plants up very high. So coal is cheap if you don't care about 1% of your population dying of lung cancer. You can get them cleaner. They're still not clean, but they're cleaner now. But no one's building coal plants except in China in the world. Natural gas is the new favorite thing. We've built about 4,000 natural gas plants. Now, what's cool about natural gas plants is that they piggyback on top of decades of aviation. Fun fact, in case you didn't know it, natural gas plants are based on turbines, the same turbine technology that powers jet planes. And so all that research and all the materials and how do you have a thing spin at 10,000 RPM that can withstand 3,000 degrees of temperature, well, that work has been done for airplanes for years, and it directly switched over to natural gas plants. They're much larger, but the ideas and the research play directly. So, and you could actually make the turbines. Some of them are bigger than this room, but a lot of them are smaller, and you can make them in a factory, and you can put them on a train, and you can deliver them. So if you make 10 of them at a time, it's actually way cheaper. But you notice in that graph I had a minute ago, none of those have gone down much. Wind has gone down a lot. Why has wind gone down a lot? Because we made 500,000 wind turbines. Has anyone here been to a wind turbine factory? I'm going to guess nobody. Okay, so you have? All right. So I've been to some factories that make them, and they make them, they're enormous, the size, some of the I forget the top part, I forget what they call it, but they're half the size of this room, and they're enormous. But they make them on these giant rollers and big cranes, and they ship them out on ships and big special-made trucks. And so, but they make them in volume, and that's the reason that wind has become so cheap, because you can make them in factories in high volume, 500,000 and growing quickly. At the heart of every solar system is a solar cell. We've made more of those than we've made of the other things. In fact, as of 2 years ago, we've made 120 billion solar cells. And that number's probably double that 2 years later, because the market is just absolutely taking off. So you ask yourself, every time I make a nuclear power plant, it takes 10, 15 years to make one. How much am I learning that I can apply to the next one? Especially if I'm only going to make, there's maybe 30 nuclear power plants under construction in the United States, right? In the world, none in the United States, mostly in China. How much do you get to learn? You get to try something. Imagine you're going to make 100 billion of anything. One of the scientists I interviewed said that humanity knows more about the physics and chemistry of silicon, which is at the heart of solar, and microchips, than any other material on the planet Earth. We have studied silicon more deeply than anything that you can get on the planet Earth. Biological, non-biological, we've studied it more than anything else. And so we have made 120, imagine how much better you're going to get, even the tiniest tweaks. In the history of solar price going down is that every couple billion they make, they go back and say, well, we can make this giant change. And every couple 100 million, they make this small change. And they get better and better across the planet Earth. And next thing you know, these things have gone down 400 times since that satellite that made Sputnik look dumb.